right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are now here in St. Augustine, Florida. Once again, it's beautiful. I've been traveling quite a bit, so I've been running all over the crazy places and doing some crazy things, but I'm back, and St. Augustine is where I love to be. So we've got a couple guests here with us today to talk about marine innovation, because that's what we do in this podcast. We talk about innovation in the marine space of all types, whether that's something entertainment-wise, technology-wise. And recently at IBEX, one of the areas that I was traveling to, I met a gentleman, Dave, that's sitting across the table from me today. And he brought his friend Dustin in with him. And we are going to talk to these guys about a really cool technology that they've brought forth and are in the process of getting adopted in the marine space. It is a technology that everyone should know about. Morning, guys.
Morning. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no worries. So tell me a little bit about let's go 100-foot view, right? 100-foot view. Give me the high level pitch of what your company is and what you guys do.
Well, at a high level, our sister company is a Northeast Florida dock builder. We're dock builders. That's the DNA of the company. And quite a few years ago, we were installing boat lifts and boat remotes. And before we got into this space, we didn't know we needed to be into this space. So we were putting what is now our competition. We're putting the competition's boat lift remotes on docks.
Got it.
What we were struggling with was with all respect to all of the competitors out there, what they had on their pylons that we were putting on were wider, clunkier, chunkier, and just not a look that our customers were liking on the dock build side of things. We build a high end, modern looking, clean dock, and we couldn't find
big ugly white box hanging on there, yeah.
Or bright yellow. But yeah, so we wanted something leaner and more modern looking, and something with a cool logo. So there was that component. And then there was also the component of, we had some competitors talking about smartphone technology, where the customer can use the app on their phone from anywhere in the world, access their dock. So we were excited about that technology, to be honest, and told our customers that technology was coming. And what happened, for a lot of different reasons that Mr. Technical over here can get into, that technology never really happened. So about 6-ish years ago, one of the company, founders met what is now also a company founder, an engineer out of the Midwest, out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And they met with the entrepreneurial dreamer with the idea, with not the know-how to get it done. So
love it.
Engineer from literally NASA and other really high-end type of background manufacturing said, hey, I think we can do this. And so that was a few months to a year plus of just development.
Sure.
And about 4-ish years ago, product number 1 got into the market.
Awesome.
And so it's been a 4-year journey. When we met at IBEX, you and me, we were talking, we went as a startup, because there's been 4 years of kind of friends and family. We're selling to some marine contractors that we know around the Southeast, but primarily we started in Northeast Florida just for our clients.
Right.
So now we're looking to, get into scale, and that's why we went to IBEX as a startup, entered the pitch contest, didn't win, but
I think we gave it your best.
We represented, and so I think that might explain kind of a little bit of our journey.
Very cool.
I would agree. I mean, the big thing that I would want to add on top of that is, we're in 2025. I mean, we do everything from our phone today. There was absolutely no reason why we couldn't control our boat lift from our phone.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
And bringing that technology just seemed like a natural evolution of the product. I mean, everything prior to that was still stuck basically with 70s and 80s technology.
Sure, switches.
So, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I watched your video. That's as much as I know about the organization, which is why we're talking today and learning more. But but obviously there's you guys have expanded it beyond just controlling the lift, but controlling the entire environment of the dock, which I think is super cool. Super cool.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So it's got additional features on it. We can control lighting circuits. We can control different moods. We're actively developing being able to raise the lift and lower the lift to different points. Just way, just really kind of broader thinking than what you can currently do today with any other controller in the market.
Got it.
Also with our app, you can get push notifications. You can know what's going on. You can invite other users. It's just really trying to revolutionize what's out there today in the market.
Yeah, I love it. That's innovation, right? That's why we're here, right? And innovation takes so many different forms. As I said before, just starting a business, you can consider innovation, right? Because you're stepping out and doing something nobody else has done, or doing something in a different way than somebody else did before. You've got to figure out your path and figure out where you're going. Then technology itself is true innovation, right? It's putting technology in people's hands to allow them to do something better, faster, cleaner, smarter, and that's what we love. Right? That's absolutely what we love. So, either one of you have an entrepreneurial background? Is that how you guys got tied with the small company?
Yeah, I think so. I have a lifetime in the marine space.
Okay.
Had water ski and wakeboard schools for quite a few years, and when you end up coaching families, it's like, okay, well, what boat do I buy or what gear do I buy? And so it lent itself into all kinds of different sales. So, that's part of my entrepreneurial journey for sure.
Got it.
And I would say for myself, as a young kid, my father, he had a small business from Georgia. He had a small business there. It was successful. Being able to watch him do that. I went my own route. I went to college. I've worked for some corporations. I've worked under multiple umbrellas and small businesses. So it's kind of just been one thing. It's been interesting to be able to bring stuff from corporate environments and big things, but then also take some of those learnings and put those into the smaller roles and little companies and see how you can run stuff lean and just learning from all that. They all have their different places. There's all things that you can pull from each of those. But absolutely, it's a lot more fun in the small space, at least for myself.
Well, Dustin, I could have said that the exact same way. That is my true feeling, right? Is that there are things in the corporate world that I cherish, that I learned, and I wouldn't be the same person if I didn't learn them going through that process. But ultimately, I find enjoyment in the small business. I find enjoyment in the challenge, right? I think that's what it is. It's the challenge. It's trying to get something adopted that wasn't adopted before or known, and that's the challenge we're all in as entrepreneurs and as innovators, trying to get people's mindset to say, oh yeah, that is a smarter way to do it, right? That is a smarter way to do it. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. Most of the time it's hard, right? When somebody tells you it's easy, that's because you didn't look at the 10 years that they worked on it before it became easy, right? And so that's an interesting thing about innovation. So where are you guys located?
We're in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
Currently, we primarily everything's in Jacksonville. Everything's fully assembled here as far as our production line, all made in the U.S. There are some components that are sourced outside of that, but everything's assembled right here in Jacksonville, in the Northeast Florida area.
Got it. You guys know Brian from Fiber Systems?
I do not.
Right. So he's another technology company here in St. Augustine. Super cool. We had him on. If you guys get a chance to watch that podcast, he's got flushing technology. So as you guys know, getting on your lift, you typically have to flush your motors with an outboard. You got to take hoses and connect them. He's got an inboard flushing system.
I've seen
it's all computer controlled, and so you get on your lift, put your lift up, right, flush it, done.
I don't know him, but I know his product, and that's a great idea.
It's super cool. Yeah, super cool. So take a look at him. All right, so tell me why you went down this path. I mean, it seemed obvious that we should have a different level of control with the phone, right? But why did you go down the path of expanding to the lights and kind of creating this environment? Why? How did you get here? Is it just something you said, oh, this is our vision and we're just going to chase it, or is it were there development stages that you ran into to say, oh, this would make sense, kind of a thing?
So the easiest way to probably explain that is I like to call it an accidental company. A lot of companies start that way.
Oh yeah.
The dock building business was also an accidental company. Had a property, we're looking to get some basic repairs done. Couldn't find anyone to get the job done. Year and a half out. So Matt, one of the founders, says met another guy who was talented around docks and said, let's just figure out how to do this ourselves. So he did his own dock work, and from there the dock building business began.
Okay.
So as you're doing the dock building business, the customers who are, as Dustin was alluding to earlier, everyone, it's 2025, it's smartphone, everybody wants tech on their docks. Number one, something that looks good. Our box, we think, looks polished and good, and something you'd be proud of to have on your dock. And then the tech behind it, no one else was doing it, and so we just decided to do it.
Nice. You have visions of building your own lifts, or are you going to continue to work with other lifts? How does that work?
The best case scenario, so short answer, no.
Okay.
Longer answer, who knows?
Who knows, right? Yeah.
I mean, everything seems to be accidental in the first place, but the best play we have is working with lift companies. It's what we have is really nice, but what we have is it's not an emergency. It's not something that you just have to have, right?
Yep.
And so working with lift companies who can also partner in the excitement of the more they sell, the more they can make on the, we get out to them, we're on the wholesale side, and we can let them make some margin on their sales, right? And so they'll introduce it into the market. Once the customer has it, they don't ever want to go back from it. But when you don't have it, you don't know you have to have it.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. The Roscoe area in Ponte Vedra.
Yeah.
That low tide on a Saturday in the summer, let's just say around July 4th. Okay. Old school technology is the RF remote. Like you think about like your garage door opener. And so you have to approach your dock. You got your family, whatever. There's big boat traffic some of the time and a lot of the time, and then there's other little boat traffic, but you have to be within range. The tide can be going one way, the wind can be doing something, and you have to stay within a certain range of your dock. If you left it high tide and you come back at low tide, it's going to take you a long time for that lift to go all the way down on the RF side. So with the smartphone technology, you're able to 15 minutes, an hour, whenever you want to put your dock down. Let's say you're leaving St. Augustine, halfway home. Okay, you hit your smartphone, hit the down button, and we'll show you how it works later. But you hit the down button, and your lift is down in the water. You pull in safely, and then it goes back up. So it answered a problem that people were having these frustrations on the water getting into their boat lift. But it's like, no one's going to take the time to develop a product with an app and all this stuff. But based on the know-how we had from the dock building space with our engineer friend up in the Midwest, it was kind of born. So
got it.
And I was thinking about the question you had earlier. What kind of really started that, and to piggyback on what Dave said. A real live situation was Matt, one of the owners, was coming back, had all of his family on the boat, and he's sitting here, and he's there's a storm behind him. They see it on the radar. They knew it was going to be there that day, but it's coming in faster than they thought.
I've been there.
Here they are, hammering throttle down, trying to get back, and that's great. They got to the house. They got there before the storm, but what they didn't have is the lift wasn't down. So they're out there for 10 minutes. He's got a long travel. He's got a fairly large boat. Larger boat lifts are slower. They're geared slower. He's having to wait. It didn't get down in time before they got completely soaked on that storm. Wow. With this technology, having that ability to control it from an unlimited distance, he's able to have the lift down as soon as he pulls up. He's able to get on the lift. They're under roof, family safer, and it just feels like a better situation.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a good way to say it. And I've been there, by the way. Not long ago, actually, over the summer. Wasn't supposed to rain. No rain in sight. And we got out to a sandbar. Just got everything set up and looked off and saw these clouds. And we're like, what in the world? So we look up on the radar and we're like, oh, we got to get out of here. Of course, I had a boat and 2 jet skis, and I didn't get off the water, and it was lightning. I mean, it was like as soon as the sound was hitting at the same time as the flash. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. Right. That's spooky. So that's a great scenario where this technology can be really helpful to get things, prepared. So when you come back, before you leave, before you start your boat, you can say, hey, drop my dock. I'm on my way back.
Right. Mm-hmm. And one of the other big situations that we always think about is, in Jacksonville, we've got this little area called Isle of Palms, and it's very similar to places that are down south where you've got these canals, and it's these rows of homes that are on canals, and those are all no wake zones. And typically people are coming through those and you're hitting the no wake zone. It's that same thing. You know, you may have a 15 to a 20-minute ride through a no wake zone. And then on top of that, you get back to your lift. Now you're waiting another 10, 15
Yeah.
minutes for your lift to go down.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Save that time. I mean, time is money.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to sit out there and have to circle around. So it just adds that ability to be able to do something faster, more convenient.
Yeah, and then obviously with your phone and having an app there, it takes a piece of the technology away. You don't need to have a remote, right? You don't need to have to worry about batteries in it. You don't need to worry about all those other aspects. Your phone is there. It's on your hip. Everybody has a phone 24/7, right?
Yep.
And that's everything's going that way for sure. No doubt about it. So good work. So if you want to jump into some specific aspects of the system that make it unique, what would you say are the things that make it super unique?
Well, one of the things we'll add is, we do trade shows. We talk to lots of customers.
Sure.
One of the biggest thoughts is, well, what if my phone gets wet? What if it falls in the water? What if I don't have my phone on me? What if my Wi-Fi signal goes out? How many times can you not get your YouTube TV on or Hulu or whatever because you don't have a Wi-Fi signal? So that's a common question, and the response to that is there's two other ways than your smartphone using your app to put your boat down, and one of them is just at the box itself. There's a manual switch, just like you have on a Gem or a Tech or some of these other remote competing systems. The other way is we have RF technology. We've got a thing that you put in your glove box or put on your keychain for your boat or whatever. So if your phone goes dead or you get it wet or for whatever reason you can't use the app, we've got another two ways to put that boat lift down and get it back up.
Got it. Makes sense. That's good. Have backup, right? And it's actually I was just thinking I've got a Mincata on my boat, right? Mm-hmm. And I downloaded the app and started using the app. I had no problem with the remote, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the remote worked fine, but once I started using that app, that became I don't even know where it's at this point, right? It's gone, right? It's the phone now, because I know I'm always going to have my phone on me, mm-hmm. and it just makes more sense.
You don't have to maintain the batteries in the remote either,
right?
I mean that's always my luck. I go to use the remote, and it doesn't matter that I have it; the batteries are dead.
Exactly. Yep.
Some other innovation that we've developed, kind of on accident. Remember on the marine contractor side, we get asked to pitch or bid for jobs for marina expansion. And so what we're noticing in Northeast Florida and all over the state really is marinas are going away, it seems, that marinas are going away from dry storage facilities and they're expanding docks and they're getting more and more wet slips out there and they're putting lifts in. So we're getting bids to go put in pilings and docks and hoists and all of that. So we know that's a trend that's coming. So as part of this, we developed an app. Our app the company was started for just a regular family that has a boat or two on their dock.
Sure.
So 4 usernames were created in the app because you're probably not going to have more than 4 people that you're giving access to your boat.
Makes sense.
It'd be rare to have more. So that was a few years ago. Well, now we're looking into these marina jobs and we're going, okay, if they're going to have all of these lifts, why not give a marina operator access to all of their boat hoists and boat lifts, remotes, in an app, so they can sit in an office and they can see when boat 22 is going down. They can see when boat 84 is going down. A lot of these places have 100 hoists in them or whatever. Let's say there's non-payment for 2 months or 3 months. What are they doing now? They're unplugging, they're locking. Right. All they have to do is go in the app, hit the button, and they can still have power running to the pylon. They can have lights, they can have all the stuff they need for safety, cameras, but the lift will not go down at the box, the RF won't work, and the app won't work. So we feel like we're also heading, as we get into 2026,
to more commercial environment,
into more marinas. They don't know that they would enjoy this, and we're trying to educate and explain. Sure. We think you need it. Of course, we think they need it, but they really do need it.
Yeah. No, you hit it right on the head, and man, this is the challenge with what we do. Of all the things we do, right? Getting people to realize that there's a need, there's a cost savings, and it makes sense, right? And that's the challenge. The hardest challenge, I say it all the time, Wyatt's heard me say it, Matt's heard me say it, the hardest thing we do is try and change human behavior. most people just say, oh, no, I like what I'm doing, right? And because that's the easy button, right? But then, we have to, as entrepreneurs and as innovators, convince them otherwise, right?
And it also there's a complete maintenance component with that because this is connected to Wi-Fi. We can pull data and history for our residential customers. We can still send them notification. Hey, your lift hasn't been ran in this many days, or your lift has this many hours on it. You may want to consider maintenance, whether it's greasing your grease points, all of that thing. In a marina, that technology and that ability to do that becomes even that more important. Because in that marina industry, those lifts need to be able to run. The customers, I mean, they're paying, a lease or a rent payment to be able to use that. They don't need to have a lift that's down. We can monitor motor conditions and be able to suggest to the dockmaster or whatever, hey, you may want to go look at this lift. This motor is acting differently or behaving differently than what it has before. And we're able to do that because we can measure the current and the amp draw from that motor. So we can look at all of those things, make recommendations, put out a maintenance log for that marina. So it really opens up and really helps them to also be able to manage their lifts.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And you guys know it. I mean, some of these marinas, our push at Xanago Marine is to change people's mindset into preventive mindset, right? And that is exactly what, instead of when something breaks, fix it, right? Let's stop it from breaking, right? And so there's lots of opportunities to do that, but the hardest thing is the mindset. But you probably, just like me, have been to tons of marinas and realized that they're all reactive, right? Like they all run in this reactive mode. There's it's all, I've been all over the marinas all over the country, and they all kind of run the same way. It's like somebody needs something right now, something's broken right now, somebody, it's just everybody's just kind of running all over to service the customer. So anything we can do to help that, right? To help them be able to slow down more strategically, be able to manage their lifts and the processes around the lifts, do the preventive maintenance so it doesn't break, right? And it's all smart stuff, all smart stuff. So we typically do a little rewind game. This is our first one with two people. So by the way, so
how are we doing? Good work. All right?
Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great. So we typically do a rewind game, and so a rewind game is just, I'm going to throw out a random year, and then tell me what you were doing in that year. Two people. We'll do it one first. Dave, you first. All right. 1981.
1981. I was all about baseball. I was going down to Keystone Heights in the summer with our family. We had before all the lakes dried up in Keystone Heights, a lot of them dried up. We had a lake house down there, and that's where I got into water skiing. My grandfather got me passionate about water sports. I could have gone fishing or water sports. I got into fishing. So I would say baseball, about 8 years old, baseball, water skiing, grandma's homemade ice cream at the lake house.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
All
right. You ready?
Ready.
1999.
Ooh, 99. I would have been finishing high school. Wow. I'd been driving for a couple of years, working, kind of starting that same thing. I told you earlier that I was working for my dad and his business.
Nice.
Kind of trying to figure out what I was going to do in life.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah. I've got two in that same stage right now.
Yeah.
24 and 22. Yeah, they're just kind of trying to figure out the next steps.
Yeah.
So they both have good direction moving, but it's all in a point. It's that stage of life, right? That's what we all do when we're young, right? So very cool. So thanks for the memories. Thanks for going back. And
that's fun.
That's fun. It makes you kind of think and say, "Wow, really? What was I doing that time frame?" We've heard some great stories. We actually asked someone one time, and she was absolutely throughout a year, and it was just random, and she was in the military, and she was a finance in the military, and she was responsible for giving cash to the soldiers in Egypt, and she was carrying $1 million in a bag to pay these guys cash. And I'm like, so she was telling the whole story, and I'm like, wow, incredible. Who would have ever guessed that I could pick that year, you know? And what a cool story. So everybody's got a story, man.
My story wasn't nearly that good.
No, it wasn't.
Let you down.
But you figured it out, Dustin. You're where you're at, right? You're serving your purpose at this point. So, Dave called you the technical guy. What does that mean?
Well, I think that means, for me, mentioning that I've been here since the beginning. I've seen the entire process of this from brainstorming, developing, understand. I'm not going to say understand it the best in the company, but I've got a really, really good, strong understanding about how the controller itself works. So if we ever get a call and there's ever any kind of problem with something not working, to be able to think back through all those different situations. There's so much knowledge. I mean, I guess unfortunately it's probably knowledge that I have that's not written down anywhere. You know, and being able to understand, okay, they're having this problem, or it's something's not doing the way that it's supposed to, and just being able to work through that fairly quickly, and be able to get a response and an answer so that we get our customer, back up and running and kind of doing those off-site diagnostics. Nice. And I think that's kind of really where it comes from.
So I'm going to encourage you to do this. Start building your AI now, right? You've got all that in your brain. I mean, I'm telling you, I've been doing it for the last few months, and I am unbelievably blown away of how well it learns our business, right? It just, you can keep feeding it, and then you can turn around and say, hey, can you write me something for this? And boom, it hits it like on the spot, right? You don't even have to edit anything. It's incredible. So I think there's going to be a big play for AI in writing manuals and doing those things. And all you got to do is just tell it, right? You got to tell it, hey, when this happens, right? And then it can formulate it into manuals and books and put it all together for you. It's incredible.
What are you using for your AI?
Chat GPT.
Okay.
Yeah. It's but anyway, I went on a banter there, but that is a perfect use for that technology for sure.
Absolutely. I just for another company, I just recently used it to write a safety manual.
Yeah.
And what would have taken me days to do, I was able to do.
Yeah.
In a very, very short amount of time.
It's truly amazing. It really is. So our customer service guy, our customer service team is in Columbus, Ohio, which is where we started the business, and so he's there, and he started actually the whole thing with building Chat GPT for the customer service team, right? So everyone could answer with the right answer, right? And so he started feeding it all in there, and it's just amazing. I mean, it knows our business as well as we know our business. It's really wild.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
Take advantage of that for sure.
All right, cool. So, first of all, did you like the rewind game?
I did. It was good. Well, I think we should have you do it.
Yeah, pick a year.
I think Dave needs to pick a year. You pick a year.
All right. Let's go. Let's go recession. Let's go 2009.
Oh,
bad year.
2009. Yeah, that was a rough one. I was in Georgia, and I was still was before the company I was with sold, and great life, great church family. We had moved to the west side of Georgia a few years earlier than that, over northwest of Atlanta, and got a nice piece of land and built the kids' tree houses and all that good stuff. So that was good. I was fishing a lot, fishing a ton, Lake Lanier, Allatoona, those Lake Martin, some of those lakes. But good times on the water for sure. Everywhere we've gone, it's been near water, right? That's kind of a prerequisite. You can't be at least within a mile of water, and everywhere we go. So always carried a boat with us, no matter where we've gone, from Georgia to Ohio or back to Florida. We did in 2009. We also had a house in Pensacola, so we were actually spending quite a bit of time. My wife and the boys would go down there and spend the summers sometimes down there, and then I would come in on the weekends, because it was fairly close, 4-hour drive or so. So that was nice. But yeah, that was an uneventful year for me, I think. But
congratulations to that.
Yeah, but I think that it was kind of a point where all things were humming, right?
Yeah.
All things were humming. Everything was in a good spot for sure.
Wow.
For sure. So Good one.
Awesome.
Good
Yeah.
one. Good. Thanks for doing that. That's fun. You see how much I looked up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. It's funny. I kept found myself looking up. I'm not even looking at you guys in the face because I'm really trying to think, what was I doing? What was I really doing? So, cool stuff. So, all right. So, Dave, you're the sales guy, right?
Yep.
All right. So, if I'm somebody that has a level of interest, I've slowed down walking by your trade show booth, right? We got that 2 seconds. How do you get me?
Well, we typically have our box. Can I get the box
Yeah,
up here?
absolutely.
Let's do that.
Absolutely. Let's look at it.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, technology.
So is this in the shot? So. Real quick, I'm gonna go a little longer than my elevator speech,
Okay.
just because we're on a podcast.
I love it. Do it.
So if you look at the difference between the technology we have, so when I open this box right here, you see some nice fit and finish, right?
Sure.
That's
Clean.
pretty inviting. Can I see the yellow in there, Dustin? Not the remote, but yeah. So most people on a typical dock, this is probably 80% of the market in the state of Florida. So when they open their box, they get this. Everyone has seen this. So there's a difference right there, right? Just with the look. So there's no leveling buttons on here. Inside, behind this screen, this is in the background. Okay, what would you call that, tech guy? Motherboard.
It's a PCB board, printed circuit board.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So in our competition, pardon me, Dustin, our competition has
moving
lots
current
of these inside the boxes, and so they're never going to be able to do a smaller box until they go to something like this.
Yeah.
Am I saying that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
So anyway, so this is on the inside, and he can get into all the moving parts here. Yeah. So typically at a trade show, I'll just get my phone out and walk someone through. You can put down, you can put up. I explain the limit switches. So for our product, limit switch is required, right? So it's not going to go. You don't want to accidentally pocket dial and put your boat through your boathouse, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
So through the app, we have some safety features where every time you access a different screen, you've got to put your passcode in. So I show that feature. I show them how to put the boat up and down. One of the biggest selling features of the lift is a lot of people are used to leveling their boat with something that looks like this, and you've got to hit the level button for each motor, and you got to watch. You got to maybe have someone over there. Okay, am I good now?
Oh,
With
wow.
our app, it's just you can be standing anywhere you want. You could be in your living room looking out at your boat way down and you can just hit level until you can watch it get all balanced.
Oh wow, automatic leveling.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can also
very cool.
control your dock lights, 3 different clusters of lights. So let's say you got flood lights and running dock lights and all kinds of different things. So people really like that feature as well. So that's kind of my speech and or my elevator speech during a trade show.
Yeah.
And normally I'll say a few things and then the customer or something will trigger why I like that, and then we'll go into that feature.
Sure. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you guys and said, hey, that's something I want on my dock tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. Who do they call? How do they do it?
PremierRemotes.com.
Okay.
They can order the product online. They can call us. We're pretty radical about our customer service. Our line goes to 3 phones: my phone, his phone, and Matt's phone, kind of through Google Voice, and we kind of compete on lightning fast response times. So if you're down, your boat lift's not working, you're at the thing, you're probably going to get us unless it's 2 a.m. So we're going to respond to you. So the phone number is 904-290-1169 or PremierRemotes.com.
Phone number again?
904-290-1169.
Perfect. Guys, if you are interested and you've got a dock that maybe your lift is needing an update or you're looking to do some new work on your dock, get it to a lighted paradise per se, why wouldn't you try and control that with your phone? Why wouldn't you take the step and call Premier Remotes and say, look, let's do this the right way and make sure that we have the right controls? So technology innovation right here from Northeast Florida, which is exactly what we're here to do and to highlight. So appreciate you guys coming in. And so let's go one more deep talk here. Who writes the software? Who's the coder? Is that you, Dustin?
It's not me.
Okay.
It's another guy that we work with. His name is Mark. Super sharp guy. He's interesting because his background. Most people either do software or they do hardware, and he is a hybrid. He is his own unique person that has been able to do both. He's um, layouts, the software, understanding how all that works together. The tech stuff that I provided him was really just assisting and outlining the original parameters of what we needed to do.
Got it.
And once we got past that, Mark has really taken off, and hats off to him for being able to bring this to life. Because there's been a lot of people that have tried and they just have not been able to figure it out.
Yeah,
So
good for him. It is all about the people, right? It's
it
all
is
about
about
having
people.
the people
Yeah.
in the right seats for sure. Actually, when you were saying that, it reminded me of when the company I was with in Georgia that we sold to Stanley Black and Decker. We had a developer that his job was to communicate with the hardware, right? But he's really a software guy, but his job was to write software to communicate with the hardware. Man, he was unbelievable, right? He was an asset that you couldn't duplicate, right?
Yep.
And
Right.
I'm sure Mark is probably that
He
same
is.
same guy for you. So
Well, Mark is dedicated. He's full time on staff, doesn't do
Yeah.
anything else but this.
Oh,
So when we do have a
nice.
problem out in the field, when Brainiac 1 can't get it,
Yeah.
Brainiac Original, the software guy, between those two, they're going to make sure that the boat lift works.
Yeah, awesome.
And
Is-
most of the questions we get are typically just about installs, about, hey, just want to make sure that we're understanding the instructions right.
Right.
I mean that's primarily either that or hey, help me make sure I got it connected to Wi-Fi so that it all operates correctly. I mean that's 99% of the tech calls that we get.
Got it.
So
So future, what's future look like? You mentioned scale, right? That's all the fun part about where when you get to a point where you got your technology comfortable and you feel like you've got the solution solved, right? The scale becomes the challenge for the business. What else? What else are you going to be looking at?
Well, do you want to answer or you want me to go?
I either one. I mean I think for us when it's scale, we've got some different ideas about how we're going to produce the unit itself, to make it more serviceable. For a tech that's coming in, working on a lift. There's we know that there's some opportunities there. So we've got some low hanging fruit things that we want to do, to make it easier for our installers and our dealer network. Um, Outside of that, I think some of the technology that we're looking at, Dave mentioned earlier, it only works with a limit switch, and that really sets a high stop and a low stop. We're working through some technology now that we're going to be able to assign multiple level stops. And you may ask, well, what's the advantage of doing that? Well, I may have a normal high limit, I may have my low limit, but what if I want my king tide? I mean, you live in this area, you know what happens when we get a full moon, winds blowing in. So maybe I've got a storm level limit. Maybe I have a load level limit, meaning, hey, I press a button, I want it to go to my load position. It brings my gunnels down so that they're even with my dock, and it makes it easier to board. So we've got some opportunity. We've got some opportunity there, and I think that we're really really close to being able to introduce that.
Yeah, that's a really nice feature for sure. I could see lots of use. I mean, the storm thing right there. I mean, that's a great idea, right? Get it in a position where you know it's safest and it's gonna wear it out or bear the storm, I should say. So
So when you met us, we were at IBEX. And
Yeah.
We were under startup. We were looking for funding, and we're close. But we're service. Remember, we started as a solution for our customer in Northeast Florida. It really expanded to Florida. It's kind of a southeast vibe of vibe's probably the wrong word. It's a southeast um, product at the moment. But as we have been, our YouTube or Instagram, and we're getting some people in other areas. So I'm from, I spent 10 years in the marine industry in the Midwest. I was up in Michigan.
yeah, it's a big market up there in Michigan.
It's a huge market, but there's a lot of hydraulics and there's a lot of ballast, and we're not we don't do hydraulics right now. We don't do ballast lifts. So we got about 40% of the lift market that we're able to work with right now. There's another 60% out there for us to go get, and so that's another opportunity for us. So between the marina and getting the 60% of what's out there in the lift space to develop through Dustin and through some of the other guys, to be able to do more for the hydraulics and the ballast and the other types of lifts that you might find in the colder environment. Those environments, in the wintertime, the lake's frozen. Half of America is frozen in the winter. So those docks, we don't have that in Florida.
Right.
So those docks come out, the lifts come out.
Right.
It's a whole different experience.
Exactly.
And so that's just something that hasn't been on our radar, but is now going forward.
Got it. Makes sense. And that's of course, if you're attacking 40% of the market, how do we get the rest? It makes sense.
Just adapting that technology to work with all those other style lifts. That's
Very
right.
Cool. Very cool. All right, guys. Well, hey, we really appreciate your time coming in. And is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you guys were just dying to get off your chest?
Number one, thanks for the invitation. This is awesome. Love what you're doing. The Northeast Florida has needed this podcast. So however we can support you, we're in.
Good. Good.
I can't think of anything that we haven't covered, but Dustin, you might want to think of something.
Nothing related to the controllers. No, absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much for letting us be here today.
Yeah, no worries. We really appreciate it. And ultimately, this is really about innovation, right? We call this the Marine Innovators Alliance podcast. And we do that because what we're trying to do is bring attention to the people that are doing really cool things, but we're still in that hard stage, right? That hard adoption stage, which is changing the people's mindset and showing the new technology that we have and scaling the business. That's not easy. If you've never been there, right, it's not easy. And so we're all in a really good spot. And Matt's heard me say it, Wyatt's heard me say it too. I did this because I believe we're stronger together than we are single, right? And so individually. And so the more that we get to know the others around that are kind of in a similar spot, right? For instance, I mentioned to you guys Brian, right? And there are lots of people right here under our nose that we don't know that I am certain could help us in some way or another, right? And likewise, we can help them, right? And so it's really, for me, it's about building the community, building awareness to what we're doing, showing off cool technology that's changing the game in the marine space, and then going from there. So
awesome.
We'll see where it goes. Like you said, they all start somewhere and end up completely different. But we feel really good about what we're doing here, and I think that people will receive it well, and we'll be able to kind of build a network that will help us all. So
awesome. Well, keep going, man. You're
doing a good job.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening today on the Northeast Florida Marine Innovators Alliance podcast. And we appreciate you filling in and listening to myself and Dustin and Dave talk a little bit about their product at Premier Remotes. Again, Dave, one last time, how do they get in touch with you?
PremierRemotes.com. Everything's online. We're on Instagram at the Boat Lift Guys, and we also have a phone number 904-290-1169.
If there's any installers or dealers out there, y'all feel free to reach out to us too. We're always looking for new partners and completely open to that. So we'd love to hear from anyone.
Yeah, that's great. All right, hopefully you heard it all here, guys, and we thank y'all and peace out.
Thank you.